How's it going, everyone? Burt here. And welcome to the Bodyslam post show. I'm joined by always my good friend Isle. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Chilling, freezing a little bit because right as always, being in the east, it's a little chilly. But it's kind of snowing right now outside my window, but doing good.
Oh, that's cool. It's funny you said that. The only time I've ever seen snow besides on the TV is when they'll do those events where they'll bring in fake snow. I wouldn't want to live in it. That does sound, kind of exhausting. But yeah, no. Every time I hear about people experiencing snow, I get a little jealous. But it's cold out here, but nothing like those East Coast winters. But we're hanging out here as well. So
yeah.
Before we break in, get into the actual show, just immediate first thoughts. What you thought about the debut on an AMC. I did watch on the app, caught a little bit of on AMC, but I have to say that opening shot of the crowd, the entrance, I know the sound was a little wonky at times, but it did definitely look like a Major League Wrestling show compared to the Access presentation. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I'll give them this the presentation. I thought the presentation was good. Like right off the bat, you can tell the difference from the previous Impact episodes to now. Obviously, from the beginning to the new theme song, which I thought it was good and needed. No offense, Across the Line, it's a good song, but I figured it was time for a change. The new graphics, obviously, and stuff. Same stage set, I guess, for now. But I like how it's kind of simple and kind of very simple and very smooth and stuff. Kind of like the way WWE does their graphics, and you can tell from the at the end of the show, you saw the credits and the names. That was kind of usually the WWE's thing, but now TNA is kind of doing it, so it kind of makes sense. And one thing, with this partnership, it's not just with the talent coming over. TNA is actually trying to learn how the way WWE does their programming and stuff. And you can see firsthand.
Yeah.
So I thought the presentation would look very nice and different.
Definitely, and we're going to get into.
So you watched on the AMC TV, correct?
No, I caught a little bit on because the app. I had to wait until the 9:00 West Coast feed because that's the feed that we get out here. So to watch live, I watched on TNA, the TNA Plus app. But I did catch a little bit of the AMC stuff later in the night as well. So just to kind of look at it and see how it came across. And yeah, I thought it was really great. And AMC's been promoting the hell out of this show, since the announcement. So that was really cool to see. Going forward, like I said, to watch live, I'll be watching on the TNA Plus app, but I'm always going to try to catch the replay on AMC just so I can kind of add to those numbers. You know what I mean? Give it all the support I can. But but despite the hiccups, and we're going to get into those, I thought they did the best they could with the, they were dealt a lot of, a little bit of little small blows before the show, and we're going to talk about them that kind of caused a little bit of the, the show could have been better. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah. Oh. I was watching on AMC Plus.
How did it look on there?
Yeah, I thought the app's pretty cool, pretty nice. It's kind of similar to HBO Max, I would say.
Okay.
What's good is that you can press the live button and just kind of show you the live channels that the app carries, and I thought that was pretty nice. Yeah, very very nice app. Didn't have no problems.
I will say this though, and again, I expect each week for them to make more steps to obviously improve the show, but just that initial debut, I'm just more happy with, again, the amount of press and kind of publicity that AMC was doing for the show leading up to it. So I can't be. I have to be happy about that, just because I don't ever remember Access really sending out that many tweets. You know, I mean, people were kind of pointing that AMC seems to be really behind TNA, so that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into direct TNA stuff, I did happen to catch last night a little bit of it. I saw that none other than Leon Slater answered Carmelo Hayes' U.S. Open Challenge. I mean, U.S. Championship Open Challenge, which this is probably one of the best things John Cena ever did, was kind of revigorate that title and kind of. And I like how a lot of the wrestlers are kind of continuing with that. But this was cool, man. I love seeing Carmelo get his shine right now, and I thought this was. I love seeing, and I know people are upset Leon not going to be able to be not being on a Thursday show, but that was cool for Leon. I'm happy for him. That was awesome. What would you think about that?
Yeah, I thought it was very cool. Well, we'll just get right to the situation at hand. Seems like some TNA talent, foreign talents, visa expired. So as you know, we'll get into later. But like some talents visa expired, so some are not able to make it to the States right now. One including being Leon. But thankfully, WWE was still in the UK for the shows, and Leon was able to make it to the SmackDown show, and I saw he had a good showing, great match with Carmelo Hayes for the United States title. Very, very. I mean, it gets no better than being on SmackDown, of course, and then having the US title, and then put on a good match with Carmelo. And I'm a big Carmelo fan too, so I thought it was really good. Yeah, a lot of good pace. I mean, of course, with two great talents like these, you're gonna get a banger. That's where we go.
I like how you just kind of mentioned that, how cool it is to be on SmackDown, just because obviously, like, we all know the days of like Monday Night Raw and Raw is War. But there was a while, especially like right when SmackDown started, I'm thinking of the Fist, where SmackDown was the better show of the two. You know what I mean? And I don't know, there's something to me. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, that is pretty cool to be on SmackDown. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, that like I said, that was for a while the show of the two. So yeah, like what a great way to Leon couldn't be here, so have him there. It does suck for TNA. But I could almost play a little devil's advocate and just in terms and say, yeah, while it would have been cool to have Leon on the Thursday show, I thought the theme, especially after it was announced it was going to be the main event, it was kind of Mike's night. You know what I mean? Mike and Kazarian's night. You know what I mean? Like that should have been and you don't need so many marquee matches. Like Matt says, you give them one sparingly. But yeah, like I was happy with the way. I was fine with it at the end of the day that we didn't get Leon, and obviously we're going to talk about there's a lot more other circumstances in terms of who Leon was supposed to face. But yeah, no, I was fine, and I'm happy for Leon again. This is what it's all about right now. We're talking about Leon, and I was very happy for him.
Yeah, very happy for Leon. Yeah, I mean, under the circumstances, of course, but like, yeah, he was. He did his thing, he's been since winning that X Division title, he's been sky's the limit, like going from like, facing defeated Moose to like, defending that Bound for Glory, then being in the John Cena's retirement show, then being on NXT, even challenging for the NXT title. At one point we thought he was going to win it, and now all the way to like, him being on SmackDown. It's just like, wow.
Yeah, it's coming full circle for him, and such a young age. This guy's already doing really big things. So, and it's only going to get bigger for him. So yeah, congratulations to him. Okay, next we're going to get in, because I think it's directly linked to it. When one door closes, another door opens, they say. One of the reasons I think we didn't get Leon is, as many of you know, I believe it was announced on Wednesday that AEW was able to sign all four of the Rascals. That was a big blow, I would say. Of course it is. It's sad, we wish them nothing but the best. You know, I do watch AEW. I know you do as well, so I'm going to support them there. But that was just kind of one of like the first blows in a line of a few this week that really kind of hurt. You know what I mean? 'Cause I didn't expect them to lose them right now. It sucks, but they are bringing in more talent. We've seen that. We'll get into that in a second. But just your initial thoughts. What were your thoughts when you heard that the Rascals were leaving?
I would say that part of me was kind of like surprised, but I kind of had a little hints that it was kind of like eventually happen at some point, because while it was reported that Zachary Wentz's deal was coming up in January, and with Desmond just appearing on TNA and hasn't really signed. He wasn't under contract. And then Myron Reed, who was a free agent, and then of course Trey, who's signed too. You kind of like had to put two and two together at some point, like thinking like, are one of them leaving or two of them leaving, but never did I think it would be all four of them. Like it's just kind of insane too. But like, and also like also, days prior, we forgot to mention, Killer Kelly, she was her deal expired too. So I kind of like had in the back of my mind knowing like, some people weren't coming back, but the fact that all four of them left, it's kind of wild. But for them going to AEW, I'm super happy for them. Like these are four talented guys. I'm very big fans of each of them. Very good. I always said before Trey Miguel, he can like he always had that. He always had that like singles potential. So like he had 2 great X Division title reigns or so, but like there's something about Trey that was always stand out, and the same with Myron and Wentz. And Desmond, like all four of them, they bring something special. So like them going to AEW, I'm happy for them. Should be great. Like there's like a lot of talented athletes for them to face. And my only hope is that they don't get like cast like they don't get like sidelined as much, because like AEW has a big roster obviously and stuff, or sideline to Ring of Honor a lot too. I mean, because like these are 4 guys, like I think AEW fans will want to see them on TV more frequently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a couple things. We talk about fit. I do think that a thing that really helps them, and I think that we're past the days of AEW really not getting the most out of the TNA talent they sign. And I think now is a lot of the reason why we're seeing that change is because I think AEW is kind of getting back to their roots in terms of the talent they're signing. They're not really signing so many like ex-WWE guys who maybe are just kind of going there to wait it out until WWE calls them again. And really, even if they weren't ex-WWE guys, for example, Rusev, I don't think he fit TNA. When I look at the Rascals, I think of a team that, you've got trios titles there, which are important there. We know the AEW has kind of built the foundation of the company on tag team wrestling. And then, like you said, those are 4 guys that we talk about being like the elite of TNA, which they should have been. All 4 of those guys could be singles guys. You know what I mean? Some may be higher up on the card than others as of right now. But I think it's a good fit for them. And on a side note here, I hope they don't end up on ROH, just because that would almost make it like it would be harder for TNA fans to watch them because it's on the same night. You know what I mean? Even though I know ROH is taped, they shouldn't be relegated to. Yeah, they shouldn't be relegated.
It's nothing against Ring of Honor. Like I pay attention to it. Something like they have good talent there and stuff. It's just kind of like how it's kind of like presented, or so to speak. Like it's basically kind of like the ECW, the old ECW WWE show, so like, or they all kind of had to like take a backseat to like AEW's programming and stuff, and like some Ring of Honor talent, they're too busy we're doing AEW stuff like obviously like Bandito, for example. He's doing Dynamite and Collision, and then he's rarely on Ring of Honor. Basically, you know what I'm saying, because like for like identity reasons, if you get what I mean. Like, I feel like Ring of Honor's identity is kind of getting less into or so.
Yes,
but yeah,
well, I think.
But I mean, if the Rascals picture this, if they're like on AEW and then 2 months later, then they're on Ring of Honor a lot, it just kind of feel a little. Kind of feel like a little.
Yes.
Unpleasing or so. I mean, Ace Austin's on Ring of Honor. I mean, he's doing all right too. But like, I feel like he's capable of being on Collision and Dynamite more. And don't even get me started.
The only reason I'm a little less nervous is because, yes, Deanna, they kind of are getting Deanna's booking right now. Ty has been kind of forgotten, but the guys who left TNA at a really high point, Mike Bailey and Josh Alexander, I think are being booked very well. I think Ace, he wasn't really. They haven't really found out what they're doing with him, and it wasn't like they were booking him very strong. He wasn't coming out off of a high from TNA. But like I said, the Rascals walk in to TNA, to me, what I would do is I'd have him win the trios titles and have him freebird that, just to see the different combinations. Hell, I would have him win the tag belts and just kind of have those groups control those, because I really think for the AEW fans who don't watch TNA, this is going to be the most exciting team coming into AEW in a long time. You know what I mean? They do a lot of what AEW fans like, but I think that they have a lot more charisma than some of the teams that just are high flyers. You know what I mean? For example, they could do everything that like a Top Flight can do, but these guys are way more exciting. They have more personality than Top Flight do at this point. So yeah, I would really, really get behind them. I expect them to too, just because the graphic that they use, I think they're going to use the same presentation for them. I think they know what works with them. So yeah. I have this one, but it's
going to be interesting. Like,
I just want to say real quick, Al, I do think though, to argue the other side, I think TNA fans are going to be upset. I would put the Rascals in the category of Jake something. When was the last time? And obviously Rascals more, but it wasn't like the TNA was doing much with them. You know what I mean? So I'm not blaming TNA, but no one stays in the same place forever nowadays. So like I think they did need a change of scenery. I'm not gonna totally blame TNA on this one.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting, like how they're presented, especially like all four guys. I think there'll probably be in a lot of trios matches. Trios matches. I mean, I would like to see them possibly go after the trios titles and stuff, because these 4 or 3 or version or whatnot, like they're capable of kind of like elevating the trios division, like.
Yeah, and they would be a very unique. They haven't really had a team like that. Like I maybe the last team that you would say that would maybe more of high flyers would be like the combination of the Young Bucks with Kenny, but or the Death Triangle. But yeah, there hasn't really been a high flying team in the trios division in a while. So I definitely think that would be a nice shot to that division. Okay, it's not all gloom, people. Now let's talk about additions now and re-signings. I know for me, one of them this week, TNA announced that they had re-signed Jody Threat, and I thought that was essential. Jody is like one of the workhorses of that division. That's the kind of talent that you need to build around. You need people who can go out there and get a good match, have a good match with anybody, whether they're a seasoned pro or a little bit more green. I thought that was a very good move on TNA's part.
Agree. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Jody. She brings something different, like, to the division. Like she's I mean, the wild child. Like she's got that energy. Something that can elevate the division. And of course, with Danny, doing her thing, and it certainly makes sense. Like they keep Jody around too, because like both both women from the Spitfire tag team. Like they're very talented. So yeah, yeah. What I would like to see from Jody, they push her to probably in contention and see if she's capable of one day being a champion. But yeah, I'm glad they're keeping her. She's very good.
We moved to another one. Announced on Busted Open Radio, Nick Nemeth, after 2 years of kind of being on handshake deals, I believe what they put it as, he's finally signed a deal. And did you see the clip of Ryan Nemeth in the room too?
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I think that everyone should kind of applaud him in a way, because for the hate he was getting when he was in AEW, I can't think of a person who has found their footing more than him. He knows his role in TNA, and he is playing it to a T. Yeah. But I thought this was another good move for AEW. I mean, for TNA to keep Nick Nemeth. He's definitely felt like a TNA guy since he's been there.
Yeah. So yeah, there's another funny video of him bothering Tommy Dreamer while he's working out, about getting signed. It's funny too. But yeah, he's entertaining, dude. But yeah, Nick Nemeth. Yeah. I mean, it's about time. To finally get this guy unlocked. I know, like you mentioned, he's on a handshake. He's been on a handshake deal, per appearance, I think, deal, because he has his indie schedule and stuff, and from indie schedule and in New Japan and AAA and stuff. But yeah, what I would like to see is him being on most of the schedule and stuff. Obviously he does the media, he does the media work, which is good. He's on the advertisements on the AMC on the AMC stuff. So he's it's clear. Yeah, he's a very important figure. And he was the first guy to kind of kick the wheels going in the new TNA. You know what I mean? When they rebranded. So yeah, it was very important to kind of keep this guy around. So I'm glad. So yeah, it'll be interesting what lies ahead for the Wonder Man here in TNA.
Yes. Our next one, we're going to move on, and I just saw this one reported this morning. Per Denise Salcido, she announced that the Righteous, Vincent and Dutch, have signed with TNA. I think think why maybe I'm not the biggest fan right away. I think that's another good one. It shows that they are, when they lose talent, they're trying to bring in some more. So and they had a plan. So I like this one. You know what I mean? I think they fit TNA as well.
Yeah, I'm glad they're signed. I was a fan of Vince. I was a fan of Vince's work in the old Ring of Honor. Like I mentioned before, he gives you that Bray Wyatt vibes. The way he talks and the way he's presented, and the music, obviously, all kind of similar to Bray Wyatt and stuff. I don't know if he's paying tribute to him or something, but get very similar. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting for tonight's tag title match, which we'll get into later. But yeah, we need. I mean, obviously with the departure of the Rascals, we need tag teams are mandatory right now. So glad we got another tag team. They're a very interesting duo. As Matthew mentioned, cold leader vibes. They kind of bring some kind of cold leader vibes too, and with the way they've been kind of bothering the Hardys and stuff. So they kind of done well. They kind of did a good job, kind of building this feud, or right before neither teams touched each other until last Thursday. So it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I'm glad they're on board.
Yeah, and yeah, I mentioned AEW's tag division. TNA has kind of always had, tag team wrestling has always been alive in TNA, and so yeah, them signing more tag teams when they just kind of lost one, technically two, if you think about it, in the Rascals. Yeah, no, this was a smart move. I like I like when, if they're using somebody, I would prefer if they were at least signed to TNA in some aspect. So I like this move. Yeah, this was a very good move in terms of just, I think they bring something to TNA that is needed. Okay, last one, and this isn't really and we'll talk a little bit more just because we'll save some for the show. But I saw this morning that there are people who are kind of advocating for TNA to sign Richard Holiday, and I saw that Ali kind of liked that tweet. This is a guy who I think really fit TNA. Like, I remember that was the reason why he was the reason, along with MJF and Hammerstone, why I tuned into MLW. I think they were called the Dynasty. Great faction, you know what I mean? And I think that he, I don't really like to do comps, but this is kind of like a EC3, MJF kind of. He can play that role, you know what I mean? And I think if you bring him, and he can work, you know what I mean? So I think he really fits TNA, especially for somebody who we're trying to. You hear everyone kind of wanting, now that we're on AMC, more characters. I think he definitely has an established character / gimmick that would fit very well in TNA. But what would you think about TNA bringing him in?
Yeah, I'm a fan of like you. I watch MLW. I'm a fan of Richard Holiday. He kind of resembled both like EC3, so to speak. Just kind of like the way he presents himself. And he was a part of the Dynasty along with Hammerstone and MJF. Like they had a good thing going for a bit and stuff. And
I remember like, yeah, I remember like he in the Dynasty he would always talk
I'm surprised AEW hasn't brought them in yet. Like,
well, it's funny you mentioned that, and we're talking about MJF. I saw that MJF was the guy who gave the contracts to Alec Price and Jordan Oliver this week. So that company kind of, I think someone made a joke. I think that they've signed more talent just in the first 10 days of this year than they signed all last year. They're really loading up on talent right now. So I don't think, even though Richard Holiday is extremely talented, I don't even know where they could fit him in. It's like I saw somebody make a joke. Don Callis' family has enough talent to run a whole promotion. You know what I mean? So I don't see where I think he fits AEW. Yeah, they're very top heavy right now. So I would hope TNA would give him a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, the EC3 kind of thing.
Yeah,
I always
it says a lot too. It says a lot too when you're being very recommended by TNA people. That's something. Honestly, that's something they need to be doing right now. Like, forget the ex WWE talent or the big names or whatnot. I mean, they're important, yes, but like I'm saying, you also got to kind of like build a core roster that can keep the flow going. Keep the flow going before the show. I mean, in the beginning of the show and during the show. Basically, like a stable roster at the moment, because we're kind of losing some. But from what I'm told, like they're kind of like doing some overhaul and kind of basically kind of like starting fresh, with a new roster and stuff. So bringing new people in. Some people leaving. I hope a certain person don't leave. I'll get into later. But hope by February, I think we should have the roster set and kind of keep things going. But like one of my problems is like this stuff should have been handled before the new year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, we're just dealing with this stuff right now when it should have been handled. What should have been handled like, and way before the new year. Like the moment the AMC debuted, the AMC announcement started, like right then they should have just kind of started getting, dealing with contracts and dealing with, figuring who's bringing in and stuff. But hopefully that gets sorted out by February.
I will say too that, and I agree with you completely. You know, you wouldn't think that they would.
Hold on,
You
but
wouldn't think that they
real
would be.
quick, man. We have a new visitor in the chat. A good friend of mine and Gerard's. Probably heard of him, King of the North. Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, glad you finally came.
I know. Shout out to King of the North.
Yeah, we're about to actually we're just about to get right. We're about to get right into the show. So thanks for joining us. All right, you can say.
I just want to say real quick, when it comes to the holiday thing, I really like when you see talent kind of advocating for TNA to sign. I believe that Holiday is the champion in the home promotion of Ali, where he works. I think it's AAW. I believe, and because I think it's based out of Chicago. I'm not too sure about. I'll have to look that up. But I like when
the Chicago promotion.
Yes, I like when talent are, because who else knows these guys and women more than them? You know what I mean? They see him close hands. So I really like that he's kind of advocating for him. But like we're about to get in the show. Just want to remind everyone before this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar. That's the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but 4 powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know you're going to need that when you're on those nasty-ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code Bodyslam at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay, hold on. I see a famous person in the chat, Datia. Datia, we are going to mention Mr. Elegance. We want to save the debuts that happen on the show for the show, but I'm glad you mentioned that because I was not blown away by that one.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Okay, but like you said, let's get into it. Thursday's episode, obviously this was their debut on AMC. There was a little technical difficulty. I saw that the app crashed. I think that was a kind of a given for all the new traffic that was going to be on there. But we open up with the show with the return of the franchise, AJ Styles. And this warmed my heart because this is the kind of crowds that this guy should have been coming out to the whole time in TNA. You know what I mean? I know that it was getting kind of lean when he left. But this was awesome. You know what I mean? This guy deserves all the flowers. You know what I mean? This guy carried TNA for a decade plus. So this was really cool to see AJ return.
Yeah. As we get into a new era, it's only fitting that we kick things off with the prodigal son, the phenomenal one, the GOAT himself, AJ. And the crowd reception was great. I always pop when I see AJ. He's obviously he's in this retirement year, so it's going to be very emotional for all of us fans. He had a good match Monday with Gunther. That was pretty good. It shows like, man, this guy's retiring, but like he's still putting on these bangers. Like he's one of those guys where he doesn't really have to like give it his all like at this stage of his career, but he's still doing it, and it's just, man, we're blessed. But he opened the show. It was very fitting to kind of lead into the new era. And of course, the TNA chants. And we're gonna get into AJ a bit more too. So with his retirement year, what's your thoughts on? Speaking of AJ, what's your thoughts on him retiring this year, and like what would you like to see from AJ Styles?
Well, I think that the more and more that I think TNA, I'm starting to lean in the camp that we're going to get one AJ match in TNA during this retirement tour, and I'm all for it. I think that it would be really cool to see. I haven't thought as far as ahead to who that match would be against. It would have been kind of cool if it was Kazarian versus AJ just because, all the history. But if we lead to an X Division match with AJ versus Leon, I don't think anyone's going to complain about that. Hell, even if we got some sort of tag match with AJ, you know what I mean, where there's less percentage of him taking a pin or looking weak, I'm okay with that too. Just as long as we get AJ Styles in one more match, and the reason I say this now is because, before I would say to myself, he's been in TNA, he doesn't need to prove anything by having one more match in TNA. But now that this is kind of like TNA at like an all-time high, I think he deserves to be in a TNA ring with these types of crowds one more time. So what were your thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me bring up. Yeah, DNC Digital brought up a good point. Like, it's good for like a new viewer tuning in, like to see familiar faces. So having AJ open was great. Yeah, what do I like to see? As you see, like whenever AJ appears, like they did these cool announcements, advertising and stuff. So it seems like we might get an AJ Styles match. Probably, if I had to pencil, I would say probably for like a pay-per-view. So that kind of like brings in the buzz and stuff. So yeah. But hey, I did like the segments after. Like thank God that wasn't the only stuff we get at AJ. Yeah, he confronted Kazarian. Didn't say no words, but then you notice he took a look at the world title and then kind of started a little something there. And of course, it's no secret that Kazarian has gone on record saying that him and AJ are interested of doing one more match. It's just up to the powers that be. We'll see. But yeah, then they showed AJ again with Santana, which was very interesting. Coaching up Santana about tonight's match, tell him to beat his ass and stuff, and then Santana got up on his chair, and then they have a little stare off too. So it's nice like those little things that kind of put a little spark, like kind of gives a little hope for us TNA fans as to like might lead to something or so. But yeah, we're just gonna have to see what happens.
Just answer King of the North's question. I would go with Bound for Glory just because that is, supposed TNA as WrestleMania. I would go with BFG. I think it's you get a long time to build it, kind of figure out the best match for AJ to have, best opponent. But yeah, I would go with Bound for Glory. What about you?
I would say Slammiversary. Yeah, it's the summer. That's a great time where everybody's going to be out. Going to traveling. Going to traveling and stuff. Especially Slammiversary because it's TNA's anniversary and stuff. So it'd be fitting, for AJ to be a part of that card.
Now I
wouldn't mind Bound for Glory either too.
Now I will say this because I don't know if anything is announced yet. But I could see a scenario if TNA ends up doing a show during Mania week in Vegas. It would be easy, I think, to get AJ that weekend. I don't know if TNA's announced anything for the month of April. I don't know what their plan is, but that would make sense to me as well, just because you have a lot of hype that week. You have a lot of people in town for Mania. I think that would be. I think it would do good numbers too. But I think that's just another scenario. That one's a little sooner. Obviously we're on the road to Mania right now. So, but yeah, no, I'm Slammiversary BFG. I'm fine with either. Okay. Next, we're going to get into our first match. And this is kind of like where one of the highs started for me. It was Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and Elijah taking on Mustafa Ali in the Great Hands. Man, whether it was the Hardys' entrance with the live guitar player, or just the way that Order 4 looked like $1 billion coming out. Like, they just look like the faction. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it was. Obviously, maybe it's the AMC effect, but Order 4 just looked incredible. You know what I mean? They look like absolute stars. But this was a really fun match. I'm glad Elijah was able to come back as soon as he did, because he was having the run of his lifetime, in my opinion. He's finally in the right company for him. I think that TNA knows how to accentuate his strengths. I love this match. And before I go, let me just say, every time I see Ali giving the booking that he should have been given in WWE, it warms my heart, just because this guy, I think this guy's going to be TNA champion by the end of the year. But what do you think about this one, Isle?
Oh, I agree. This was a great way. I mean, of course, you're gonna have to kick off with the Hardys. Again, familiar faces. To the new viewers. They got a good entrance. I think that was Machine Gun Kelly's guitarist playing them out to the ring.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So you can tell this was gonna be like a special night. All the stars are here. Nice entrance. Everybody looking nice and looking nice and fleshy. Even the content creators were there. One guy was there with BD and stuff. But the 6-man tag. Yeah, the 6-man tag was good. Very good, short, fast-paced match. I will say I'm happy for guys who are making their debut on national television. I'm talking about Skylar and Hotch. This was a big moment for them. As you and I, we kind of seen where they were, being enhancement talent, and then being henchmen. Then of course, now riding with Mustafa, doing well and stuff. So I'm very happy they kind of got this opportunity, and they did a good job. Jason Hotch, he's a very underrated talent. Notice too, he's, once this dude hits his prime, the wrestling world is gonna be wild. He's really good. You can put him with any dude in the ring. He's just gonna stand out. So them and Mustafa, they had a good showing with the Hardys and Elijah. Of course, the Hardys are the rock stars. And of course, it was no brainer. Yeah, they were gonna get the first victory here and stuff. So what was your thought on the match?
Just a couple of comments. Agree completely with Datia. Absolutely. Jason Hotch is underrated. The Great Hands are underrated. And then just King of the North. Yeah, of course, I think that Leon and Myron would have opened. Yeah. Just because that's, the exhibition.
Exhibition, the foundation, the company, it would have opened.
TNA kind of being the taking off where WCW left off. The exhibition's definitely their cruiserweight division. That's, you want to open up with a fast-paced match that would have got the fucking crowd popping. But yeah, no, it didn't happen. But back to the match. Yeah, no, I love this match, and I just love how they utilize Agent Zero. They make this guy look like a killer every time he comes in there. And also, I'll just say, man, this is the kind of matches where I know too many belts is the theme right now in wrestling, but I would have loved the TNA to have a trios division, just because I think it's just I love the matches, and I love how they structure them. And in terms of the Great Hands, yes, they need to become the Gold Hands this year. It's about time. They need to win the gold. Me and Dacia and me have been talking about this for a while. It seems that now, even though that it's kind of a little bit late, not late, but they're a little behind in terms of scheduling it, where I would have put the titles on them. Yeah, they're peaking right now, so we got to get gold on them. Order 4 should be the system of 2026 in terms of give them all the gold, make them the focal faction, at least in terms of heels. But yeah, I really like this match. I thought this was good.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm with you guys too. I've said this from the start. I think it's only a matter of time before Hodge and Skylar, they win gold, because this group Order 4 is a great solid unit. They have a good leader in Mustafa, and they're taken serious too and stuff. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But obviously, yeah, this was a preview for the match between Elijah and Mustafa. I will say that and you know, it's funny, bro. We forgot to mention about the horse riding. So yeah. What was your thoughts on that segment? I thought that was pretty entertaining. Like seeing all four of them run away from the horse.
Yeah. Yes. Agree with you. Yeah. I did like that. And let me just say also that I like this feud that they've been building up with Elijah with Ali.
Yeah.
It's very good. You know what I mean? It just kind of shows, you know, how to do storylines that, you know, you don't need a title, you know what I mean, or to create a title to generate buzz. Like, this is a very good feud so far. So I'm definitely into this one.
Yeah, and they're using both guys' strengths, as you mentioned. Like, these two, like,
yes.
they don't even need to wrestle, like, to get themselves over. Like, you know, with segments and like on the mic, like, I think like they have a good chemistry there. So it's going to be interesting tonight to see how they for Elijah. Importantly, I feel like this is a big match for Elijah to see if he can hang with someone with like Mustafa, because like Mustafa's obviously talented. Yeah, he's he can make a good match out of anyone you put him in there. So it's going to be a big test for Elijah.
And let me just shower more praise for Ali. You know, kind of in the age of social media now, where, you know, fans are paying attention to every outlet and on the internet and stuff. I saw in an interview that Ali kind of mentioned Santana and kind of brought up their feud. And I love, you know, working, you know, extra work like that, because, you know, it's it's kind of planting the seeds for, we're going to go back to that at some point. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I definitely expect Ali to be the one to dethrone Santana when it comes time, you know. But yeah, I know, I really like that. You know what I mean? Ali's working so hard. You know what I mean? He knows his character. He knows what he's doing. Again, this guy should have been a main eventer in WWE. On one hand, I'm upset about that, but on the other hand, TNA took it and ran with it, and now he's a giant star in TNA. So I love it.
Yeah. So after the match, Hardy's Elijah got the win. After the match, the Righteous came down. Order 4 attacked them from behind, and then the Righteous came. And then when it seemed like they were going to help the Hardys or whatnot, then they attacked them, beat them down. They handcuff Jeff's earlobe, the earlobe for like piercings to the ropes, and I thought that was pretty wicked too, and stuff. So finally the charade's over. The Righteous, guess they are, guess they don't mind going to war with the Hardys and stuff. So what was your thoughts, and what can we expect for tonight?
It's funny, I've seen way more gruesome spots, but anytime someone does something like that, like, you know, hooking up the ear, or like, I'm like, man, that's I have to turn away.
Randy did that to Jeff.
That's right.
I remember when Randy did that to Jeff. I thought that was wild too. Jeff. I guess Jeff got to stop having his his earlobes open so folks will do that. But hey, that's him. That's how he is.
Let me just say that I think we needed this kind of turn a little bit, because now we all knew that the Righteous had ulterior motives, so they've kind of revealed their hand now. I like that. Really generate some heat for this match. It's not all bad for Jeff. It's going to be, I believe I saw it's going to be Jeff versus Ali next week. That should be an absolute banger. Jeff is really, really, like, you couldn't tell me Jeff's almost 50, man. He still looks pretty good out there, so that should be really good. That was a brutal spot, man. But again, it was needed. The Righteous showing how evil they can be. So I can't wait for this match tonight. It should be very good. I don't know if we'll get into good predictions, but I'm really intrigued by this one. I could go either way.
Yeah.
Okay, our next segment, we just go to the back, and it was just kind of a Frankie Kazarian, AJ Styles segment, and man, I popped for this just because I'm thinking in my head, man, it's 2 of the 4 members of Order 4. I'm not Order 4, but Fortune 4. But these guys have such history, man. Like they've been linked, in so many different ways since their time in TNA. Man, I really like this one. Of course, I want to see them have a match. I hope we get that. But yeah, this was really cool. But what do you think about this segment?
Yeah, it was great. Seeing 2 TNA originals. Yeah, Frankie, being the little cocky himself, saying like, AJ should thank him for the house and stuff. But I did like that. I did like that. AJ didn't say much, but he took a look at the world title and then he walked away. So yeah, I wouldn't. I'd be down, for them to go at it one more time. So again, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, again, in a dream world, I would like AJ to have maybe a couple matches in TNA. You know what I mean? It's hard to just to pick one. You know what I mean? So him getting maybe a couple would be pretty cool. Maybe a tag and then I could see maybe Leon and AJ teaming up against Kazarian and somebody, and then obviously that leads to Leon and AJ's singles match against each other. That's kind of a typical booking route you could do. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, next we're going to move into, I always like segments like this. Gia kind of went down to the ring and kind of introduced the celebrities we had. And I'm not familiar with the show Dark Winds. I know of it on AMC, but they introduced one of the actors from that show. But the one that I thought was really intriguing, I did not really watch her time, Isle, so I'm going to lean on you. Candice Michelle was there. And I know I would kind of pop for that too, because it's been a while since I've seen her. But yeah, no, I'm not really too familiar with her. I wasn't watching WWE at the time, but I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Candice Michelle's there.
Yeah, she lives in Texas. I think she lives in Texas.
And then, not to be outdone, I wouldn't call him a star, but this is what I'm talking about. If we're introducing actors, who else should have been there but Ryan Nemeth? He has to kind of insert himself. You knew this was where this was going. This is what I meant. This is how you use this guy. You have him come out and be a clown when the time comes for it. And he is no one is better at that in the TNA than Ryan Nemeth. This was so funny.
Yeah, leave it to Ryan Nemeth, trying to be the spoiler the party. But
yeah,
he got into it with the he got to it with one of the cast members in Dark Winds. It's always also it's good that AMC's kind of like bringing in some stars to kind of like help with the promoting and stuff, and it's great too for like TNA getting involved with promoting AMC stuff, because we want this thing to kind of like blossom, like AMC shows get involved with TNA and TNA get involved with AMC stuff. Like it's only gonna like help further. And I just read something that I think you're gonna like, but I'll bring it up later. Like I just read a report. I think you're gonna like, so we'll get into that later.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Ryan, being a party pooper himself, he paid for it. So,
and again, I like how, another storyline. They're continuing the Mara Sade and Ryan Nemeth storyline. I really like that a lot. I really would hope that we would get a match soon. But yeah, no, this was a fun segment. And again, this was less match heavy tonight. To Thursday show, more angle heavy. But still, this is a good one. Okay, next we're going to go to the ring and we're going to get it's going to be Santino Marella coming out. And again, this is a very disheveled Santino still. His daughter turning on him. You could tell this man hasn't got much sleep. And real quick on Ariana, I don't know if anyone's been watching NXT lately, but I caught her Stack's match with I believe his name is Shiloh Hill. But Ariana, the use of Ariana as kind of the heel manager, the diabolical heel, is working. You know what I mean? Like she helped him with the interference. It's really working. I think it's elevated Stacks to the level he needed to be. But this was a good segment. Santino comes out and basically says that the board says that he needs some help. And on one hand, I didn't see this coming. On the other hand, it felt a little WWE. But this was a good. We get the debut of Sonya Deville, aka Daria Ray, and who else to bring in as Santino's help than I believe this kind of what her role was in SmackDown a few years ago. I was fine with this. You know what I mean? I think that Sonya definitely fits TNA, especially. Does she still work for Invicta?
That's the thing, man. Invicta hasn't really done any shows in quite some time. We're still kind of wondering about that situation. I was with you. I did not see this coming. Like, I thought originally like they were just going to continue the feud between Santino and Stax and his daughter, but they kind of threw a curveball here, and it's needed, like, because some TNA fans, I feel like we're kind of getting way too much of Santino. Not nothing against him. Like, I mean, he's great and all, but like kind of way too much. Like, and like kind of like the similar way with Scott D'Amore, like when he was on too much and stuff. Of course, like I know like authority figure, like of course you need authority figure on a wrestling program and stuff. But at least this kind of like changes things up, like because you have Daria Ray, the former Sonya Deville. She's all business. Like as you know, she was an authority figure, you know, around SmackDown and stuff. Like she's all business. Like she has no problem being the heel side of things. So it's going to be a nice change of things. Maybe it might kind of like lead to fading off Santino. I think that would be probably what's best. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because they're obviously butting heads right from the jump. Like she came right in. Like at first, like she was kind of acting all gracious and stuff. Like, but then she just kind of like turned that around. Like kind of, you know, talking down to Santino as she should, like talking down like this is not what TNA needs. Like we need to be serious and and stuff. Like so yeah, I kind of like take that in, like because yeah, it's time to turn things up. Like enough with the whole Cobra and like authority figure getting himself over and stuff. Like I mean, you ask yourself why you like. No wonder your daughter turned on you. You know what I'm saying?
That's what.
Nora Sparks in the chat. Nora Sparks in the chat mentioned she should be wrestling, not authority figure. I don't think she's interested in wrestling right now. But her best suit is being an authority figure. So, but yeah, what's your thoughts on Daria?
And actually, I real quick, I'll address Norris because I think that her potential role could come in the second part of her announcement. We'll get to that in a second. But let me just say the way that Daria was able to quickly flip the switch and start running down Santino, it was very good. You know what I mean? She knew how to get heat. I really like that. I'm not necessarily wanting an authority heel figure. That's where I'm going to go next, where I think what her role should be. But yeah, no,
it's been a while, bro. It's been a while since we had a heel. When you think of it, it's been a while since we had a heel authority figure. Like I can't even remember. Like probably since Dixie Carter. Like it's crazy.
And I'd rather see Sonya than Robert Stone. So
yeah.
Okay, and so our next part, which this is where I popped, and this is where I think her best role would be. Sonya introduces the newest knockout, Elena Black, also known as Cora Jade. Let me just say this. While I think that this signing's coming a little later than I would have wanted, because I think that the knockouts division is pretty deep at this point, if you think about it, really, it's very face top heavy. Other than Tessa, because I wouldn't call the Elegance brand really full heels because the crowd loves them. Tessa's really the only heel we have. Tessa's the Diamond Collective. So I think Lena, and this is where I would make Sonya her manager, kind of similar to what they were doing with putting Kiana James with Julia. I would put Sonya with Cora, make her manager, and I like that pair because again, we don't have a lot of heels in the Knockouts division. I think Lena Black could be a very good heel for us. But I did like this signing.
That could work actually. Yeah. Basically, like she being the getting like the special treatment and stuff because like Sonya did sign. I mean Daria did sign her. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, interesting pairing.
Similar to when Karen. Oh, I was to say I was similar to kind of when Karen Jarrett was running the Knockouts, and she favored Gail and Madison. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's where I'm thinking. But yeah, what are your just initial thoughts? How do you think one, Elena fits TNA, and two, do you think that do you like the signing? Like, is this someone that you wanted to see in TNA?
That's a good question. You'll have to like go back to like when she was last there. Like, she was a part of NXT and during the crossover and stuff, and like, and she had a good feud. She had a good I wouldn't say a good match, no offense, but like a good feud with Masha, and like she kind of fit right in. Like she was like the mean girl. Like the mean girl too, and like of course she had her run in NXT. Unfortunately, didn't work out as she planned and stuff. But I thought when she was there for like a little bit on Impact, I thought she stand out. Like she's like a very entitled. Like what I get from her, she's kind of very entitled. Like all is me, vibe, and I think that's kind of needed. Like you mentioned, we needed like a top heel and like a top heel in division outside of Tessa and Danny, and I think like Cora, she's kind of gonna fill that void in. But yeah, when I was I mean it's good. Like we needed like more addition to Maria. It's crazy too. Like for like a while, there were a lot of complaints about the depleted division. Like we weren't the division wasn't as that where it's supposed to be like a while back. Now fast forward, like it's stacked. Like when you really look at it, like it's kind of stacked. Like we have some very talented females who are kind of TV ready in my opinion, and all with different backgrounds. Like especially like with Lane Lee being the champion, and I think it's kind of a good thing. Like that's what's a good thing about the Knockouts division. Like it was always different. Every woman stand out. And so having Cora, Elena. Yeah, Elena. It's I think she's gonna fit right in. I thought it was crazy that they kind of released her, but I kind of WWE kind of released her, but I kind of saw the writing. Like she was getting injured a lot. And now she's spending time doing OnlyFans. No offense, but it's gonna be interesting. Since we're being blunt, yeah, I mean she's not really the best of wrestlers. I mean, for my thing, I mean I'm not saying that she's not a good wrestler. I'm just saying she's kind of like decent. But again, like she's in a good spot where we're working with other experienced wrestlers. So we'll see what goes there. But you're about to say?
No, that's why I agree with you. For one, she has a little bit more TV experience, and now we're going to a format where we're going to be more live on TV to a bigger audience. I think she knows how to be on TV.
Yeah.
Two, I think that TNA's schedule works with her in terms of, it helps because she might be a little injury prone at this time. But also, as you mentioned, I think TNA is good for especially for people who have outside ventures. You mentioned her, and so they can do other things just because it's not the demanding schedule of WWE. But yeah, and I do think that now because TNA has a lot more, especially in the women's division currently right now, more seasoned workers than NXT, it's going to be beneficial for her for being in the ring with people like that. So I do think that TNA is going to know how to, and like you said, the glimpses that she had in TNA, I thought she looked much better than she did in WWE/NXT. I think TNA are going to know how to use her strengths and hide her weaknesses. And also too, I just think that since she's a heel, you don't have to. Heels and faces should work differently, and I think she knows how to work as a heel. So I think that she's going to do good in TNA.
Yeah, she's gonna fit right in. Yeah, she's gonna fit right in. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, next we're just going to move. We just had a quick AJ and Santana segment. This was cool just because AJ is kind of making his rounds. This was fine. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if we're going to get an AJ Santana match, if that's one of the ones that they're having in mind. But this was good. This was fine. You know what I mean? It was cool to see AJ again, just kind of mingling and talking to the TNA roster.
Yeah, I'm surprised that AJ Francis didn't do much on the show. Usually, like, you know, with the first class penthouse and stuff, but at least they put him in. What I would have done is like continue on the Swan and Francis feud. Obviously, like, because they have a match tonight, kind of like build some steam from there. Like one thing I will say, like, they should have done more is do what they can to promote the Genesis pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know, like, it's a big night, you know, big premiere, but also, like, you also want to, like, lead those new viewers to the pay-per-views. Like, that's what's great about, like, this platform AMC is, like, we have new viewers, we can, like, lead them to, like, other stuff that we're doing. So.
Yeah, I wish there would have been kind of like this week kind of should have been not only promoting obviously the AMC show, but Genesis should have been promoted just as much, just because it's kind of like a package thing. You know what I mean? You kind of want the new viewers to not only check out the show, but lead them to checking out the pay-per-view. So it would have been nice to kind of see more of that. But again, they had a little bit of technical difficulties, and there was a lot of things kind of working against him, even though that shouldn't be an excuse. But I do expect a good turnout for Genesis tonight. Okay. Next, we're going to move into what I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I was disappointed in this whole segment. We get the Elegance brand with Perez Hilton, who, again, I'm amazed that he is still a thing. But this was kind of all about them revealing Mr. Elegance. And on one hand, I like what they did because they followed up with them acting like they were going to do a makeover of the TNA employee that they kind of kidnapped. And we're going to, you know, turn him into what they wanted. But let me just say, when we got the review, never seen this guy before. I don't have his name. I'm going to look up his name in a minute just so I can find it. I was completely underwhelmed just because, and I saw a post yesterday, and I saw you kind of commenting, IO, just about the talent that are not getting signed. To me, that there was a lot better names that would have fit this. I'm not trying to talk shit, but I would have went with somebody who was at least taller than M. I think this guy was the same size as Heather. It wasn't really a presence to me. He looked like Jungle Boy on the juice, which he has a good physique. I'm going to lean to the people who said that this is, you know, TNA can build this guy. But I was not blown away. I was hoping for maybe a Richard Holiday, a Ben Bishop. But again, I'll let you take over, Isle. I was not blown away on this one.
Yeah, this was kind of a curveball here too. For weeks, like, you know, they were teasing like about the whole Mr. Elegance and stuff. And last week, you know, like they were flirting. Well, I wouldn't say flirting. Like they were trying to convince like a stage, like they were kind of convinced like a stage member, like, you know. And I knew that was going to be a swerve. I knew that was going to be a swerve there too. Like saying like the stage member, like he kind of, you know, he might fit the criteria. Not really. Like he could be Mr. Elegance, and then like Heather and M were on Twitter, you know, bragging about it, you know, about their makeover and and stuff. But I knew it was going to be a curve. So his name is and I'll get to one of Matthew's comments in a few. His name is AJZ. He was on Impact a couple while back. I think he got
Okay.
squashed by Mike Santana.
Okay.
He's an impressive dude. Mike Gilbert's impressed with him too. Like yeah, a young, good looking, good looking muscle on his legs and stuff. Like he I think he kind of fit that correct. When you really look at it, he kind of fit the criteria like they were mentioned about Mr. Elegance. And I think the way he was talking, it kind of fits too. He's kind of like the male version of Ash. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's kind of what they were looking for. I mean, obviously we had our own pitches like Richard Holiday, what's his name, Giovanni Vinci, and stuff.
I was just going to say that he would have fit perfectly in this role, and I think it would have been a chance to. Cause I think he got a raw deal toward the end of his WWE run. That he would have fit perfectly in this role.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of talent would have fit him too. But I'm glad like they're trying something different here. Like I think I'd like to see what more to do. Because like also like it's a new direction for the Elegance brand. Like kind of makes them stronger or stuff as we're gonna get to in their match of the future. Obviously the bad side of this segment, fucking Perez Hilton. Like why? Why was he there? Like as we mentioned like on our last pod, like the guy has been relevant in so long. Like I don't care how many followers he has or whatnot. What has he done lately? You know what I'm saying? Like I get like he's flamboyant too, like them and stuff, but like they could have found someone else bigger. But I don't know. He stood out like a sore thumb, basically, like when Mr. Elegance was on the promo and stuff, chatting. But I don't know. At that point, I was just kind of turned off. I mean, like I was listening to the promo, but like him Hilton being in the way was just annoying. But besides that, I thought the introduction was all right. What I would have changed, I think it would have been better he came during the match, which we'll get into, like during the match for like that, you know what I'm saying, like for like shocking stuff, like who's that? You know what I'm saying, like who's that reveals himself like that. I think that would fit better. But what's your thoughts? If you care to even mention Perez.
Let me just say something going back to what you and Mike nailed it. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because the guy, the Mr. Elegant, he's got a great physique. But the thing I like about it now that I think about it is that they did. It wasn't about you don't want a personality that overshadows the Elegance brand. This is just kind of like their muscle. You know what I mean? And so he fits that in like what they want to do there. And like again, like I didn't want someone to come in and overshadow them. So now that I think about that, there's a lot there with this because he's got an impressive physique. And like they can really work with this, you know what I mean? And again, it's a chance for TNA to build their own guy. So, and that's always, you know what I mean? It's always good to have homegrown talent. So, but in terms of the Perez Hilton thing, there's got to be more relevant people who do what he does that would resonate with younger audiences than him. You know what I mean? Like again, this guy is like early 2000s blogger gossip guy. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that anybody knows him that's under the age of 30. You know what I mean? So like I would have went with someone different. I don't think that he added anything in this segment. He was just kind of there that I guess that they think that he, like you said, he's an over the top personality like them. But I didn't really need it. And I'm with you. It would have been a really cool reveal to have him run down and then being like, oh, who is that? And then after they help him win the match, like, oh, introduce Mr. Elegant. But no. And in terms of the match, I love that we got 2-time knockouts champs with the Elegance brand, just because I think now that we're going into Elegance brand 2.0, Ash is working to get cleared. They needed to get the belts back again. So I love this.
Yeah. As I predicted, yeah, the Elegance brand were going to win the belts back. I think it's best because nothing against the Inspiration. It's just they're not really on. They haven't really been on TV much, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, of course, because they're not signed, and gonna get into that in a minute. But like, what's great about like the brand, what I love about the Elegance brand is like they know how to get themselves over. Like all the little things matter. Like from the segments, like you give them any segment, they're gonna make it make it get over and stuff. Like George Iceman, like he's a very talented talented spokesperson to kind of really hype them up and like get the heat going. Like I always laugh when he's cutting his promos and stuff. So I thought it made sense for them to go win the championships back. As far as the Inspiration, I'm told like their time with TNA ended. So guess we kind of saw that coming. So
I was going to ask you that. So wait. I was going to ask, are they dropping the titles because they're on their way out? Are they done?
Seems like it.
That does make sense because I always kind of thought that they were gonna just kind of waiting for that WWE call again. And I'm not blaming them, but it seems like the perfect time for them to go back just because it finally looks like WWE is really getting behind the women's tag team division. It hasn't just been much hot potato in the title. Like there are like 3 or 4 solid teams, and I do think the Inspiration would fit back there. So if their time with TNA is done, I think that they did good work in the short time they were here. And I wish them nothing but the best on wherever they go next. So, but yeah, I think it was time for the Elegance brand to get the titles back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next. And sorry. As far as like the next challengers, on NXT they had a. Oh no, they're going to have a 3-way coming up for the Knockouts Tag Titles contention. Soruka and Zarya, Kendall Gray, and Ren Sinclair, and then Fatal Influence. So it's going to be interesting to who challenges the Elegance Ring.
Real quick to Norris, I respectfully disagree with that because I think that not only do they not fit AEW, no offense to them, they're not the strongest of workers, but I don't trust AEW's booking in terms of how to book them because I don't think that they would know how to exercise their strengths because I think TNA definitely made them more characters. Yes, they were wrestling, but yeah, I think that they fit WWE unless they're staying in TNA because, yeah, I don't see them in AEW how they would fit.
The only reason I would see them join if their fellow Aussie Harley Camlin recommend them, but
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's reported like there are other promotions interested in them, so who knows? Maybe it's WWE. I mean, I know Cassie's husband, Sean Spears, is there, so we'll see.
Okay, next we got a quick segment. It was just we kind of saw this coming. Ariana Grace admitted that she was the mole letting TNA people in. I'm glad we got this reveal. It's just more and more things coming out about like obviously somebody was letting them in. It would make sense. It was Ariana. She was the NXT liaison for a while. It does make sense. You know what I mean? She's Santino's daughter, so she had an easy way into TNA. But this was good. I want to see where we're going to go next with the storyline.
Definitely.
Then we just got a quick Indy Hartwell segment. This was okay. I'm glad they're keeping Indy on TV. I mean, I don't really think they have a feud in mind for her right now, but yeah, like they still need to. I'd rather see her have more matches. I think that's where she needs more reps. But I'm glad they're still getting her on TV and keeping her in the eyes of TNA fans.
Yeah. Sorry. Got a little. Can you repeat that again? Yeah.
No, I was just saying that we got a little indie segment. She's kind of talking about she not really has a direction right now. I like that they're kind of playing into that because they don't really have a feud for her, but they're still doing a good job keeping her in the eyes of TNA fans. I do think she needs more matches. That's where Explosion would come in, a story for a different day. But like we got to keep Indy on TV somehow because I do think they still have good players.
Yeah. At least they're I know she's out of title contention right now, but at least they're doing something with her. The Elegance brand, was backstage. They interrupted her, talking down to her, and Indy wanted to pick a fight with one of them, and then they kind of scoffed at that to go celebrate. So next week it seems to be Indy versus M, so that should be interesting.
Okay, next we're going to just kind of again, we talked about this. A lot of dominoes fell, unfortunately. TNA is having some visa issues, and that's not only going to affect it not only affected the Thursday night debut, but it's going to affect Genesis. Not only are we not getting the X Division match, Leon versus Moose for Cedric. Santino did tell Cedric he's going to get a title shot in the future still. It's going to be Cedric versus Moose versus Joe Henry. I didn't expect Joe Henry to be wrestling on that show, but what a good way to use him, if you know what I mean. Not only just having him appear on the show, but he's going to be in a match. But that's not the only change. Danny Luna will not be able to compete, but I like what they did here. We're going to get Lay taking on Zarya from NXT, and I have not seen much of her, but she does look like a powerhouse. I like the team of her and Soul, so this should be a very good match. Lay's been killing it, and so I'm looking forward to this one. I think they pivoted really well.
Yeah. I'm glad they found a solution for this one. As much as we were looking forward to Lay and Lee and Danny Luna, obviously disappointed and stuff, but they came up with a good solution. Zarya and from NXT should be interesting. She's a very talented powerhouse from Aussie, like similar to Rhea Ripley and stuff. So it should be a nice, interesting matchup.
Completely agree, Io. And I'm looking forward to, because I think this will be like one of Zarya's first, like one of her only few singles matches she's had since coming to like NXT/WWE. So I'm looking forward to see how TNA books her match, just because it's just funny. We've had a pattern of a lot of the women from NXT coming over to TNA and having a lot better matches. Again, we're going to keep saying this. I think that TNA is what really put JC Jane over the top in terms of the complete package. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Zarya kind of shine, because again, we've been accustomed to that in TNA. Okay, next we're just going to get a quick system segment, and I like this. They were just kind of on the stage, they're thanking fans. Dango announced, it was mostly JDC, but they did talk about how next week we're going to get the announcement of the newest member, JDC's replacement. And I see a lot of people connecting the dots and saying that it's going to be Taven. Well, I do think that that'd be cool and makes sense just because of the Eddie Edwards Honor No More thing, the connection. I don't want to see them throw Taven into a faction. I think that Taven is needed as a singles heel. I don't need to see, because again, they don't have a lot of heels in the men's division either. It's really Ali, and Ali's like the only main eventer. So the system aren't really heels right now. So I would say Taven needs to come in and be on his own. But I'm not going to complain about, and I'll get to that comment I just saw, Matthew, that I don't like that. But I want to get to your thoughts first. Who do you think it should be? And if it is Taven, are you rocking with that?
One of the options is Taven. I think obviously in this for like because like the Honor of No More vibes, with Eddie and the list. Sorry, with Eddie. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, but Taven's someone that like he doesn't need to be in a group. Like he can get over by himself. So, but another person is Ethan Carter the third, uh, EC3, because obviously because he's close with Eddie and Moose. I figured it kind of makes sense. But sorry, it's gonna be interesting next Thursday because they're actually doing a whole presentation like who's gonna be the replacement of JDC. So yeah, um, whoever it is, yes, hopefully it makes an impact. So
Real quick, I just want to get to Matthew's comment. Matthew, respectfully, I don't want to see that. And even if that did happen, let's say he came to TNA, I don't think that would be a good choice just because I think that he would overshadow that group. I don't think it would be smart to put Cross in a group. Just because also I think that's going backwards. This is especially for the fans that want to see him as a main eventer in WWE. I'm not including myself in that. But I think that wouldn't make any sense, especially because I think if whoever's bringing Cross in is to kind of push him as a singles guy. So I don't think that would be a good fit. What would you say to that one, Isle?
Oh, the Killer Cross thing? Nah. We've already talked about that.
Yes. Now I like that, Norris. EJ, I think is AEW and WWE really dropped the ball with him. I would love to see him in TNA. He's got a great look. He can go in the ring. He
EJ and Dugan, he's another one that he's another one that I think AEW or Ring of Honor kind of dropped the ball on. Because he's a big talent, big good-looking guy with a good background.
Exactly.
He impressed me in MLW.
Yes. And obviously we've been calling for Richard Holiday, and we've talked to EC3, so all three would be a good choice. Okay, next we're going to move on to what I would call the strangest segment of the night. Carlos Silva brought out Dixie Carter. I did not see that one coming, especially with Bully Ray being on the stage as well, because the last time I saw them two together, Bully Ray was putting her through a table. This was interesting. I'm not going to get into the fans' reception. I was, again, certainly shocked. I didn't see this one coming, but it makes sense. You really can't tell a story of TNA without Dixie. We're not going to get into a history lesson, but she did step in when TNA was on one of its many death's doors. Again, we've talked about you can't kill this company. But yeah, I'm fine with it. You can't tell, like I said, you can't tell a story without Dixie.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was something, yeah. But I will say this, as many have said, I will say this too. Without Dixie, entering and stepping in with her, stepping in, funding, the company, we wouldn't be here right now, chatting. There would be no AMC, the TNA, all that stuff. So like her being there, like say what you want about her, like her, like you can't, like you said, you can't talk about the history of TNA without including Dixie Carter. Like she's the one who kind of really kind of kickstarted the company, kept the wheels going for like a long period of time, and even like when it was on his knees, like instead of just kind of like waving the flag and kind of like surrendering the company to WWE, she took a left turn and gave it to a company in Anthem, and here they are. Anthem still runs a company, so I know I get it, but the same, I get it, like she's had her she's had her mistakes and stuff, but guys, it's been almost 20, it's been like 15 years. Grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, grow up. Like, we're in a new year. Like, this is a new era. Like, it's time to move on, so to speak. Like, but like, I will say this: I didn't think bringing her in was kind of. I didn't think bringing her in kind of made sense because, like I mentioned, we're trying to move on, so it's kind of like letting go of the past, basically. So, like, that's kind of like what I'm saying to you guys. Like, we need to just let go of the past. Like, it's a new day, it's a new era. But yeah, I didn't think boom her was necessary. Like, of course, I know. Like, I mean, I laughed a bit, but yeah, I thought it was unnecessary. But yeah. Um, I will say this: like, I do have a lot of respect for Dixie. Like, it's unfortunate like she was listening to the wrong people, to the wrong corn artists and stuff. Like, there's times obviously wish we can like go back and like wish stuff like this never happened. But like, hey, this it is. The company's now reaching 24 years, so yeah, you can at least like got a pat. And she's a nice like Matthew said, she's a nice person too. Like at least I like I hear from some people she's very kind. From some people, I'll say she was kind of nice person, a caring person. Kurt Angle speaks highly of her. Like like Kurt Angle speaks highly of her. Like she was always there for Kurt when he was on his down low and stuff. And of course, I mean, yeah, she's a nice person, but I mean, was she a great boss, great leader? Maybe not really, of course. But I mean, but hey, like I said, like we can't be we can't be that mad for them. So yeah, at some point we just gotta grow up. Like, and I say this to like entirely, like it's a new year, like enough of the past.
And yeah, you know what? If people are gonna boo Dixie, and I'm not the biggest Dixie fan, then when anytime Eric Bischoff appears in a wrestling ring, he needs to be booed because you could say Dixie ruined one company, and that's debatable because she actually saved it at one point. Eric Bischoff's been responsible for the demise of two companies, and I know TNA is still here, but he's just one of the many people along the lines that tried to kill it. So, and again, at the end of the day, TNA is still here. We talk about this. You can't kill this company. The fans. The community won't let TNA die just because TNA is necessary to the wrestling landscape. But yeah, no, again, this was fine. You can't tell the story with her. And obviously it made sense because she ushered in the Spike era. And so why not AMC era get...
It lasted 11 years on Spike.
Exactly. Okay, next we're going to move into our main event. And this was really good.
Wait. Guess who appeared after her?
Oh yes, Bully Ray.
Yeah, I thought that was a cool cool thing too. Like the man who put her through a table, which gave TNA good ratings. It was nice. It was nice to kind of have that little nostalgia moment and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I think they are kind of connected to each other since the last time we saw them. Again, he was putting her through a table, and like it or not, like Bully has a pretty. He's on a big platform, so him being there, it did generate buzz, whether it's positive or negative. Bully does get people talking. You know what I mean? So I was fine with him joining for the main event. I didn't expect. I was praying that he didn't try to insert himself, but I was okay with that. But yeah, we got Mike Santana taking on Frankie Kazarian for the World Championship. Bully's on commentary. I like this just because, again, Bully was in TNA for a long time. He's kind of been close to TNA in the last couple of years. Again, just whether it's through Busted Open or just his appearances. But yeah, this was a good match. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Kazarian match. The guy's a professional for over 20 years for a reason. He knows what to do. He knows how to play his role. He knows how to be a heel. He knows how to make a face look good. This was a really good match, and this is the type of match we were talking about, Io. This was what you wanted for your debut. You wanted a good main event, and these guys, I think, brought it. And all the shit that happened before, I think it didn't matter because this main event delivered.
Yeah, this was I knew this was going to be a banger. Frankie and Santana, they always have good chemistry, and despite despite how poorly received folks thought the show was, I thought like this was kind of a good banger to kind of close out the era. Uh, Santana needed to win. Santana needed to win this, obviously. Like, I feel like I feel like when you really look at it, like it kind of makes sense because we're kicking in a new era, and who's going to be leading the charge of that new era, and of like of the, like the new brand and stuff, and like it can't be a TNA original. You know what I'm saying? No offense to Frankie, but like someone who's fresh and connects with the people, which is Mike, and yeah, they put out a good show to kind of cap off the night. Frankie is one of those guys who will never get the credit he deserves, unfortunately, but which actually should. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a pioneer. Like and he's a great locker room leader. Like my watch is immersed. Like he could be a prankster. He could be a jokester at times, but like he's a great coach and a great leader. And I'm glad that that he's on board. I'm also glad too that he finally won. He finally won the big one. Yeah, I mean, like you and I know, like it was only a matter of time before Frankie won the world title. So I'm glad that at least he finally got this ring. So
it was complete.
Very good press. And then, the right guy won. Yeah, that was good. What was your thought on the match?
Yeah, no. It was complete. This run was completely deserved. Maybe it came a little bit later, but you can't sit there and tell me, just like it worked out with Santana the first time, they did it right. You know what I mean? Like, you have Santana go over. He's a 2-time champ now. He wins on arguably what is the biggest day in TNA in a long time. Again, I'm not going to sit here and dwell on the negatives. I expect every technical difficulty to be cleared up by next week. But yeah, no, this was a great moment. Like, you wanted to end the first show with something the fans could celebrate. And Santana is kind of the top face right now. The TNA fans love him. They love how he came back to TNA and really put TNA on his back. So yeah, I love this. And again, Kazarian's a fucking professional. This was a very, very good TV match and what you wanted for your debut. So I'm so happy Santana won.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad. I know like they something happened after the show, but I'm glad they kind of closed it off with Santana winning, because like there's been too many shenanigans with Slammiversary and the Impact after Bound for Glory, and then all leading up to here is like it's finally like enough with the chase. Like I know TNA tends to kind of do long chases and stuff, but I think we need to kind of like change that a bit to like kind of do something different. Like you've been keeping us waiting for too long. Like the longer, and I know like I know I get the chase, but like the longer you kind of like dangle it above us and stuff, fans are gonna get too annoyed, and then that's gonna cause some problems. But at least we can now finally enjoy Mike Santana, right? Like he's the standard, and now he's leading the charge. So I'm interested to see what's next with the SS rank goes.
And let me just say out, because we're about to, and I agree with everything you just said, spot on. And I like the comment from Mimi here. She says that the match told a story in the backstory, and that's necessary for new viewers. Exactly. They did a great job building this match, because they were treating this show like they were going to welcome a bunch of new viewers, and I completely agree with that. They did a very good job. But I was going to say, before we get into predictions here, I just pulled up the matches, and at first I was thinking to myself, man, is this vicious issue going to affect this card? And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this card is a banger. Like, you know what I mean? Because whether it's the potential of a debut in the international title match, this looks like it's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Before we get into the predictions, what are your final thoughts on this week's show? How would you grade it? And then just overall, was it a success to you in your mind?
Here's what I think. I will say they could have added a bit more matches. As folks mentioned, they could have added more matches. Because I mean, I know like some situations they were out of their hands, like some talent couldn't make it, but still, like 3 matches, like I know King of the North earlier mentioned that, like, but like 3 matches, like come on, like for a 2-hour show, like come on. But for what it's worth, like they kind of like showed us like things like it's a new Impact, like there wasn't no long storylines. Like long storylines, leading on. I mean, outside the Santana and Frankie, like everything else felt new and fresh, which is what's needed for this new debut. So, I'll say maybe a B-. I think that's kind of fair. Like they did send the fans home happy, in the end. Probably a B-.
Yeah, I would say like I'm going to give the show a C, but just because I'm saying it a C, it doesn't mean that the show wasn't a success. Just because I think, again, for a first effort, there's always a little bit of hiccups. It was a success just because for me, and I know I'm biased, TNA goggles on, just the idea of having TNA on AMC was a win for me automatically, especially the way that they promoted the show. I can't get over the AMC logo in the middle of the ring for the commercials. I just think that that's so cool. But yeah, no, I'm going to give it a C. Agree with your grade as well. But I think that the show was a success despite all the hiccups. Okay. We're going to finish out the show with our predictions. Just want to remind the chat, if you guys want to get your if you have a prediction that you want to get read on air, make sure you donate to the super chat. We'll read your comment on air. We're going to start off with the show with, yes, we are getting the match. It's Ryan Nemeth taking on Mara Sade, and I think this is going to be very fun. I'm going to go with Mara just because it makes the most sense. I could see Ryan getting a cheap win, which I'm also okay with just because it's up another potential match. But I'm going to go with Mara here.
Yeah, this should be a fun intergender match. I like that they kind of been like the way they kind of been building with Mara super kicking Ryan over and over and stuff. Should be fun. Yeah, Mara. Also like kind of get this out the way because they kind of been dragging it too long.
Okay. Next, we're going to get, and I think that the finish of this match is so predictable. Next, we're going to get Cedric Alexander taking on Moose versus Joe Henry. I'll have you go. You start, Io. Who you got on this one?
Joe Henry. Well, mainly because originally he was just there to appear. I mean, I'll say my mind thinking Joe Henry, but who I want maybe Cedric because I think this will be a big win for him as he moves on. But Joe Henry. Because obviously originally it was supposed to be Leon Slater in the match, but due to circumstances. But it should be a good match. You got 2 former world champions and a former cruiserweight champion. It should be a very good match. Very, very, very good match. I think all 3 of them might have some good chemistry, but we'll see.
I'm gonna go with because I think that Joe Henry, his role in this is to be, he's not the focus of this match. And I think the only goal is that him's not taking the pin because I don't think that he's going to get the win the match. So to me, it's Cedric pinning Moose just because if Cedric's going to get another title shot promised to him still, you don't need to have him lose. And I don't think Moose needs to win. So I'm going with Cedric pinning Moose in this one. Okay. And again, man, I feel like there's a portion of the card where the bangers start, and this is where it starts. It's going to be AJ Francis taking on the revitalized, the refreshed, the peak of his powers, Rich Swann. Man, AJ reminds me so much of Brock Lesnar, how in terms of, I think it's kind of universal that Brock's best matches come against small guys. You know what I mean? His match with AJ was great. His match with Danielson was great. AJ is so good at working with these smaller guys. Like, that's why I think that he should be X Division champion one day, because I think that the matches that we would get would all be good. But it's AJ versus Rich. I'm going with Rich with this one.
Yeah, another guy who's been very underappreciated in AJ Francis. If you're down AJ Francis' abilities, you then clearly haven't been paying attention, or you're just a jerk in general. Like this dude, you know, he is what he is. Like, you know, he's all like, you know, he talks the talk and he backs it up. He has a damn good choke slam, man. He could work with smaller guys. So, I mean, go watch the match he had with BDE, for example, and obviously the one with Leon Slater. So, expect this one with Rich Swann to be another banker. So, if I were you guys, I wouldn't overlook this match one bit. Like, these two are going to bring it. All right. I'll wait for Burt. Next match will be the final dance, as they call JDC's retirement match. JDC going against a fellow system member, Eddie Edwards. Just talk about JDC versus Eddie Edwards. I mean, it's only fitting, you know, when you're retiring, it's your last match. You know, you got to put the opponent over. So Eddie winning should be it. And
I definitely,
they're going to come into the ring. Everyone give a hug and cry goodbye and on to the next. Who are you picking for JDC's final match?
Yeah, I'm going with. I think it would be cool if JDC did win. I don't expect that, but I do. I think it would be cool. I would set him out on a high, because I'm one of those people who don't think that this is a work. I think he is retiring. So I'm going to go with Eddie. And I don't know if we're going to get I don't know if they're going to have the new member of the system tonight. Oh, no, we talked about it. It'll be next week. But yeah, no, I'm going with Eddie here.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Put over the guy you're facing, and all the system that all have come together and hug and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I did enjoy Johnny Dango. Where it's Johnny Dango, Fandango, Dirty Dango, JDC. Whatever you want to call him. Like, he was a very entertaining guy, so he'll be missed.
Real quick, no one's teased this, but I think it'd be pretty cool if Dango picked his replacement, and that replacement ended up being Tyler Breeze. Been kind of wanting to see him back in wrestling for a while. I think he would have fit TNA. I don't think it's going to be him. I haven't seen anything about that, but that would be a kind of a cool swerve. Yeah. Okay, next we're going to move into this is one of my most anticipated matches, because this feud has just been money so far. It's going to be Elijah versus Mustafa Ali with Tasha Steelz in his corner. I'm going with Ali just because I think that not that he needs it, but like I expect Ali to, as the calculating heel he is, I think he's going to target the past injury of Elijah, and I could just see him getting the win like that, because obviously, Ali, he knows what he's doing. He's going to target a body part if he knows that body part's hurting. And I could see Elijah getting his win back maybe on TV or in a tag match where he gets the pin, but I'm going with Ali tonight.
Ali. Yeah, this is gonna be this is a big match for Elijah, particularly because he's one of those guys we don't really see him in much wrestling matches. I mean, in important matches. What I'm trying to say is like we know he's a great entertainer. Like, he can pop the crowd and stuff. So can he work the work? So work the work, so to speak. Going up against caliber talent than Mustafa. So I don't. Yeah, obviously, Mustafa gets the win. Yes, we continue his momentum. But I think Elijah is going to surprise a lot of folks. I think so too. Like this is like what I love about TNA events and TNA shows. Like it's the night where wrestlers get to show out and surprise fans. Like that's what's great. Like there's no overbooked. I know, and despite what you guys think, like and when it comes to pay-per-view matches or PLEs, I'm sorry, or plus match specials, there's not really much overbooking the TNA matches, in my opinion. So I think we're gonna get it. I think we're gonna get something special, especially with this match. Like Elijah might surprise some guys. I mean, I think match of the night might be Francis and Swan, but I mean, who knows? Maybe Elijah. Actually, not. There's some good candidates for match of the night when you look at this card. But yeah, I think Elijah might surprise some folks.
Okay, definitely. And again, because he's really I think that he's fired on all cylinders since coming to TNA. I definitely think this is his best fit for him and his best run. And that's what sucked about that injury when it came, just because he had so much momentum, but I think he's got it right back. You know what I mean? TNA is doing a really good job with him. Okay. Next, we're going to move into our World Tag Team Championship match. And let me just say, this one is very intriguing for me because it's the Hardys taking on the Righteous. And I'm going to let you go first, Io. But on one hand, let me just say, I don't know who I'm picking. It keeps changing, but who are you going with?
That's a good question. Now that the Righteous is signed, originally I was going to go with the Hardys because I do think a certain tag team should have thrown them. But when you look at it, it could be it could be anybody's game, like just the way how the storyline's going right now and stuff. So I'll go with the Hardys. Since we just kicked off the AMC era, I'll just go with the Hardys. So kind of continue on their momentum there. But what's interesting? Now that Jeff has a match with Mustafa, I think they booked that match for a reason. When you really think of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, yeah. I might bring it up on. You get what I mean, right?
Yeah, I do.
Like I'll bring it up on the next time, but for the meantime, I'll go with the Hardys.
While I still think that the Hardys need to put over someone like the Great Hands, I do think having the Righteous win, giving them a short run, and then having the Hardys get their titles back would be fine, because what better way to kind of make the Righteous come off as somebody, because again, we talked about their lack of booking. These aren't scrubs, you know what I mean? So having them beat the Hardys, I think, would kind of silence the who are you chance that they first got. I think they do need this big win. So I am going to go with the Righteous. I think, and I just think it would be kind of a good swerve in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, next we're going to move into the international four-way title match. And again, this one is very head-scratching to me. We're getting Stax versus Eric Young versus BDE versus a surprise talent. Now, I have a few ideas who the surprise talent is, but I don't think that should, unless it's somebody huge, then I'm okay with putting the title on that person in the first. But to me, this is where I kind of want to see them finally do something with the cleanse. So I'm going with Eric Young, where we get the reveal of somebody in this group, because I think that, that's the storyline that he is kind of in this, that he's blaming Santino for allowing NXT. So have Eric Young get this title. I think it works. And then it makes Eric Young a Triple Crown champion or a Grand Slam champion in TNA. So I'm going with Eric Young.
Honestly, I think they made this for Stax to drop the title. At least I will hope. But I'm interested in the surprise. Apparently, it's someone who made a name for himself in Texas. So.
Okay.
Oh, you did. Oh, you did hear that? Oh, yeah.
I did. I didn't think about
apparently,
that. Is that what,
it's someone who made a name for himself in Texas. That's all we know so far.
so my head's immediately going to Stone Cold. Are we getting him? No, is this where I'm seeing the?
I see some people picking JBL. I'm like, oh man.
Is this where the Zilla Fatu talk is coming in? Is he from Texas?
I think so. I checked.
He's from Houston. Yeah. And he kind of cut his teeth in Booker's promotion, right?
In Booker T's promotion, yeah, correct.
So you know what? That really makes a lot of sense. I think that he fits. Yeah. You know what? I think that's who it's going to be. Again, I don't think he should win.
If it is,
I don't really like
what a pickup. Like,
yes,
because like obviously you got someone from like the Hawaii families, the son of Umaga. Like I think that's a good pick, and we saw him at the Slammiversary pre-show, which I was there. He was over. Like they were chanting for 5-2. So
there's a lot of inroads because isn't he not only part kind of the Booker's promotion? Isn't he isn't he like a champion in Fourth Rope who also has a connection to TNA?
Believe so. That's a good point.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? And he's a guy who I think definitely would benefit because to come to TNA because he's got a lot of raw talent, but I don't think he's put it all together yet. And again, TNA is the best spot to get people ready for the next spot. And I know people might not like that comment. I'm certainly not calling TNA the OVW of wrestling. I'm not even going to address who said that. But there's nothing wrong with saying that TNA is the spot that gets people ready for for WWE or AEW. I have no problem saying that because it's always kind of been like that.
Yeah, like a lot of wrestlers wouldn't be where they at without TNA. At least, like I think we should take good pride in that.
It's pretty much obvious. Like whenever TNA will show one of their best segments, usually there's a good chance that you're going to see someone who is a big name, right now. You know what I mean? They cut their teeth in TNA like a lot of people did. Yeah. TNA really is the ROH that didn't get the credit that ROH got, just in terms of that's where a lot of these names came from, was TNA. You look across wrestling, everyone's been in TNA. Okay, next we're going to move into what I think is going to be not only this is where I'm going for the best match of the night. It's Lei Ying Lee taking on Zarya for the TNA Knockouts Championship match. Lei is on a tear right now. Everything she does look good. Her strikes, her selling, her mannerisms. She's a great face. She's easy to root for. And I'm really looking forward to this Styles clash because Zarya is a powerhouse. She's a beast. You know what I mean? And hopefully they're going to really let her loose in this match because they've kind of had her a little bit on a leash in WWE. I haven't really seen what I thought we were going to be getting out of, especially the highlights I saw before she was signed. I'm going with Lei, but this is going to be a banger.
Yeah, I don't see Lei Ying Lee dropping the title. But this is going to be a very clash of styles. Yeah, that's what I love about those relationship working matches we never thought we'd see. But yeah, this would be interesting. Right now, yeah, Zarya and Sol Ruka are on. I mean, they had their miscommunication issues, but it seems like they're on the same page. As I mentioned, this coming Tuesday, they're in a contenders match for the Knockouts tag belts. So, but in the meantime, yeah, tonight should be a good showing for both women. Yeah, I don't expect Lei Ying Lee dropping the title, so this should be a good matchup.
Yeah, to me, this is going to be, again, I'm looking really forward to a showcase of Zarya just because, again, I do think really we've seen a pattern of the NXT wrestlers really breaking out in TNA. So that's what I really want to see. And I think you can do both. You can get Zarya over while still having Lei look strong in a win. So, yeah, I'm going with Lei in this one. Okay, last but not least, and I don't know how this even slipped I didn't even see this. I don't wonder if the booking of this match in terms of the stipulations changed. we're getting Mike Santana versus Frankie Kazarian in none other than a Texas death match with Nick Nemeth as a special guest referee. I'm gonna let you start with this one, just because I think that there's a lot of really creative ways that they could book this match. But I want you to start with this one.
Yeah, this is gonna be a barn burner. That's the best way to put it. It's gonna be a barn burner. Santana, he's not new to these types of matches. He actually had a Texas death match with Dango actually a year ago, and I thought that was cool. Frankie, he's been in all types of matches, so you can say he's not new to this one too. So I think there's going to be a good way to kind of put a wrap on this for at least for Frankie in particular, because I mean, I think we need to kind of move on, as Santana, continue move into his new reign. It's going to be a good one. They're going to battle all over the ring and stuff. The interesting factor is Nemeth being the referee. That should be interesting. Will he call it down the middle? I mean, I know he said he's not a fan of both guys, but the bigger picture is like he also has a call your shot trophy shot. So it'll be interesting. What's he gonna do? Like, is he gonna cash in, or is he gonna cash in after the match, or he can pull a Seth Rollins and do it in the match, and then we get a triple threat. Like that would be pretty interesting. But Matthew in the chat says, do I think Kaz is losing? Well, he just lost Thursday, so why hot potato? You know what I mean, Matt? But it's gonna be a good match. Again, Kaz and Santana, they have good chemistry. But I think we're gonna build a feud between Santana and Nemeth. They actually had a good match on the independents. This promotion called and Chad, help me out if I got this correct. ACW. It's a Maryland promotion.
I think that's right. I think it's right.
Yeah, you heard of it? Yeah, ACW. Yeah. Yeah, I think Indy is the champion there too. But so originally it was supposed to be Santana and Cardona in that promotion, but obviously Cardona signed WWE. Got to find a replacement. In comes Nick Nemeth. So I heard from what I heard, like, it was a good match, and I thought to myself, like, wow, we got to have this match on TNA. So I think that's what we're gonna go through there. And plus, I mean, I don't nothing against the call your shot thing. It's just it's been latching too long. I think we should just get this over with. Nemeth should just announce once he's gonna cash in his title shot. So, but yeah, Santana retains tonight.
Let me just say this, and to Matthew's point, because what I wanted this match to do is it's going to kill two birds with one stone. We're going to move on from Kazarian and Santana as well as Nick Nemeth. I think Nick Nemeth cashes in the middle of the match, and the lasting image is, yes, Kazarian's losing, but he's not taking the pin. So if you have Santana pin Kazarian on Thursday, Nemeth on Saturday, we can move on from the storyline completely, especially because you just said call your shot, you're over it. I believe I saw that they're returning with the Feast or Fired on Thursday, so that's going to be another chance to crown a new contender. So we got to move on from this. I don't want to see Nick Nemeth and Santana in a storyline right now. We got to get somebody new. So Santana's winning. He's pinning Nick, who joins the match kind of halfway through. Probably when he sees an opportunity.
Yeah, it's been going on since Bound for Glory. So yeah, we got to move on.
All right, well, we're gonna wrap up here. I want to thank you guys all for joining. This was we talked a lot of TNA in almost 2 hours. It's gonna be a good show tonight. One last piece of good news I want to tell you: just broke about 44 minutes according to WrestleTix. 3,299 tickets have been distributed. Only 260 left.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, Texas for all in. Yeah. It's gonna be a bigger house than Thursday. That's for sure. But
yes,
yeah.
And let me just
say
they
always do great. They always do great in Texas.
this is a great venue. I first came on my radar when I saw AEW run there. It's a good sized building and it's intimate. You know what I mean? And the way that they set the crowd up, it's very good. Like they were loud on Thursday, so I expect even louder tonight. With that being said, I want to thank Io for joining me. As always, thanking him for co-hosting with the show with me each and every week. I want to thank you guys all for joining us. Thank you guys for your support. Make sure you guys like and subscribe this video to get notified when we go live or whenever the many great people at Bodyslam go live. And with that being said, we'll see you guys tonight. I know me and I will both be live tweet tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I was thinking too. Like, I don't know if are we gonna be live tonight. I mean,
if we'll be tweeting, most likely we will be doing our show tomorrow around the same time. If something obviously could change, but we will be covering this show. But we'll keep you guys posted. But with that being said, thank you all for joining. Have a good night. Enjoy Genesis, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Enjoy Genesis, guys. Peace.